Thank you, Anupam, for being here. And I think we all seen the kind of effort being put in by the students of IIT Kharagpur. And we hope today's interaction with Anupam would be very fruitful for all the people sitting here, and also all the people watching a live telecast on mystartuptv.com and other students. Anupam, your journey has been interesting. And I know there are some videos I saw of yours, but it's complete social media blank of yours. We'll be asking about that. Tell us, how did your entrepreneurial journey start, and which was the year you decided that you want to set up and become an entrepreneur, and you want to become an entrepreneur in the edtech sector?
Yeah, I'll try to keep it brief, right? We can keep it open for them, right? So, to talk briefly about ourselves, for us, three of us, NextWaves is co-founded by three of us, myself, Rahul, who is incidentally alumnus of IIIT Hyderabad, and then Sashank. So three of us used to work together in an incubator based out of Hyderabad previously, right? So during that time, three of us were actively hiring for different roles at the previous company that we were working for. So one thing that was really, surprising, shocking, and whatnot was we felt and found the students are really capable and have the potential. But the question, are they carrying enough skills to come and contribute to the workspace immediately after graduation, was a question to us. So that felt us really surprised, because back then the teams with which we were working were instantly to be from tier 1 institutes, call them IITs, NITs, IIITs, BITS, etc. Right? So I won't say at IIT Kharagpur the education was really fabulous, or I learned everything from my professors or so, but the ecosystem had played a key role, right? I mean, because we have clubs like this entrepreneurship cell, or beautiful clubs, etc., where we learn from the ecosystem.
And you're also the general secretary of
you have beautiful ecosystem over there which helps you to come out with flying colors, right? So, but then if you look at tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 colleges, is it the ecosystem same, or are they coming up with enough skills which can help them get a job right after their graduation, was a question. So that made us really think that this is something that is really big. The students by the age of 21, students are roughly, at least these days, spending at least 20 to 30 lakhs by then, right? I mean, by the time if they're graduating, if they're not having enough skills which can help them to get a job at least, then it's a serious question on what we are as an ecosystem providing them, right? So that's the starting point of our entrepreneurial journey. So three of us, Rahul, I and Sashank, were equally excited when we started this, and it's been 3 years, fabulous journey ever since then.
Yeah, your platform, you have, after recent funding round 8 months back, you call yourself, or you aim to achieve, to become India's largest employability platform. So tell us about this kind of ambition, and what makes you confident that in the next 1 year, is it the target? Your company is going to reach the target, or probably become this largest employability platform of the country.
So probably, thanks Rahul, in his prior interaction, he took a broad demography of the audience here, right? So
this 500 million, 600 million students?
Yeah, I mean, it is. So more than before I talk about that, so I'm assuming everyone in this room is, engineer, or at least completed their, or pursuing their undergraduation, is my assumption, right? Yeah, I mean, that must be the case, right? So if you look at our whole, education journey as such, right? So what are we really putting our all efforts for, right? So at the end, yeah, I mean, handful of us must be really interested in the research that we'll be carrying out after studies, or some of us might be really interested in entrepreneurship, like Rahul. Since his childhood, he was really interested in business. But significant portion of our Indian student segment are really, we are doing what we are doing for the sake of job, right? I mean, to get a good job at the end of the day. So now, I mean, if you take the whole education sector as such, at the age of 21 or 22, would I really remember what my marks were in mathematics in the 7th grade in my 3rd unit test? Or would I really, care about, do I have enough skills that are required for me to get a good job, right? So, I mean, by employability, we mean we plan to stick to get outcomes for what we are doing, right? I mean, by outcomes, we mean the job is the outcome. So we are working on a thin line of fire where we are making students say that, you do this is what companies are looking for right now. So we are actively in touch with 3,000 companies or 4,000 companies or so. This is what they're looking for right now. This is the gap that is present in academia industry, a gap. So this is what let's plug in, and this is what you need to study so that clear this, and you will be in a position where you will get a job at least, right? So by employability university, we mean that. So now what makes us confident is, this is an interesting bit which I want to clear the air for a lot of the people. So right now, our biggest problem in our journey is not to make students get the job. I mean, I'll factually speak this. Right now, the number of opportunities that companies are looking to offer to the students are far higher than the number of students who are studying on our platform. That's the irony right now today, right? I mean, there must be assumptions that, 9 months back from here, we all heard the stories of mass layoffs in Google, Accenture, Amazon, Microsoft, everything, everywhere page number 1 is filled with such kind of stories. But the brutal, reality is, I can't take absolute numbers, but I'll take in percentages. If you are getting 100 offers from companies saying that, I want to hire for 100 roles, we were able to provide only 20 students as on today. So that's what our confidence is, that, we can become largest employability university because companies are in dire need of the talent that they want to hire for and they want to solve the problems for. And they're ready to shell out huge, go above and beyond as well. I'll just give an example. So I'm assuming everyone in this room knows about BharatPe, right? I mean, BharatPe. So exactly 15 months back, there was an incident where BharatPe was offering, every software developers whom they hire a BMW bike, World Cup tickets to Dubai. Back then, 2021 World Cup was happening in Dubai. So tickets to and fro tickets to Dubai, and an iPad. So why are they offering? Because there is such shortage of talent. In order to attract talent, really talented, skillful people, they had to go above and beyond to do that. So these are kind of cases which makes us feel that, there is, even today, this happened to me last month, right? So one of my alums of IT Corp, who was like, decade senior to me, came to me saying that he has company in Dubai, IT-based company. So he wants to hire 24 developers. So he came to me and said that, I want to hire. But I told him, sorry, right now we have to keep on waitlist because the opportunities are so many high that I can't provide enough number of students who are graduating out to you. Then he requested me, why don't you put me on waitlist number 1, because we share the same, alma mater. So that was the kind of situation we are in right now as a society. That's what makes us believe that, we can...
That's nepotism. Yeah, continue.
Not nepotism, but familiarity, whatever we call. That's how the society evolves, right? Yeah. So that's what makes us, believe that there is very huge void in this space that needs to be filled, and collectively it's responsibility of not just, us, but bunch of players. There is a requirement for us all together collectively to help Indian youth coming out from the colleges to make them employable, right? I mean, second order effect, what we see is if we don't make them really, skillful to become employable, right? So all the chaos in society starts from there, because age of 20 to 23 is where you have like that, energetic blood. So they're really, agitated with society or education system, and that leads to all the disturbing elements in the society as well. So this is the second order effect that we are really worried about, not just, the straight line that we're looking at.
Admirable. But the premise of Indian youth, especially engineers, not being really up to the mark in terms of what the corporates want or what the market really wants is a well-known factor. Where does NextWave, your company, without a E, where does NextWave make that kind of shift from the kind of trainings we have across the world? We have Amir Pate right next door. So is NextWave trying to create a kind of a larger scope Amir Pate in Anakramgoda? Is that what you're attempting? How?
Okay, how many in this room have tried to appear for, JEE or IIT or any other competitive exam? At least, tried thinking of attempting. Okay, I can see, half a dozen hands, right? So, I come from that background, I come from that factory where, we were put as students, came out as, those kind of, with IIT ranks, right? So, I'll ask in this way, right? I mean, if we are in such kind of, IIT preparatory course, and say, for example, this year MHRD announces that IIT syllabus is changing. So, would the Chaitanya, Narayana, Akash, Fiji, Bansal, etc., whatnot of the world, would they change their syllabus or not? Immediately, the next day, right? So that's a no-brainer.
They would change, yes.
So now, when was the last time the curriculum was changed in tier 3, tier 4 colleges? Because even administrators want to do that, right? I mean, no college wants to say that I don't want to give placement, but they have their own practical constraints. So we have beautiful colleges, Andhra, Telangana together are owning like around 800 colleges, right? So whenever we talk to administration in the college as well, they are like equally excited to bring some change in the society. But when was the last time curriculum was changed, right? So probably decade or decade and a half back. So okay, decade back, do we have all this digital first transaction? No. So do we have all this digital first, whatever we're doing now? No. So industry is evolving at rapid pace. So now whatever the student has to learn, is that aligned with what industry is really required, right? I mean, so that's what now we call it as, the focus is always on reverse engineered curriculum. When we mean reverse engineered curriculum, look at what companies really want. So, I mean, last 8 months, there has been huge buzz on what? GPT, right? I mean, everyone, no matter whether they are tech savvy or not.
GPT, AI, automation.
GPT, AI, etc. So, they are really worried whether the skills that we are teaching to the students will be really, valid or not. Then we hit on the ground. Personally, three of us, like all three co-founders of us, like went, hit on ground and spoken to MNC CEOs and the talent acquisition heads, engineering managers, etc. What their hiring requirement is going to change. There are certain notes and inputs that we got, and we were able to change it within the short span of time.
So was this interaction with the recruiters in constant level interaction? Does it continue so that you keep on getting?
So it's not an event based; it's an continuous. So we have a it's like it's not like once in 6 months or once in 3 months. It's on daily basis. So you have companies coming in to hire your students. You understand what the requirement is, what they're trying to or expecting from the students. Is the curriculum aligned for that or not? And keep on iteratively changing it. So it's not event based like we do it once in a year, once in 6 months. It's continuously iteratively feedback mechanism that is kicking in.
So Anupam, I have in NextWave's basic idea of getting students to come to a platform is that you have a large number of testimonials coming from students. Very few of their online presence actually has either Anupam or any of the two co-founders speaking. Is this method of getting in students to come to a platform a very studied method, because there's absolutely huge number of testimonials on your platform?
So, I mean, I see when Rahul was interacting earlier.
Probably explain the kind of testimonials.
Yes, yes, I'll come to that. See, I mean, what we strongly believed in is India is a place where probably having a brand ambassador like Kohli or Salman Kaur or Hrithik Roshan, more than that, what my neighbor or benchmate is saying is much more important to me than what Virat Kohli and Salman Khan are saying to me, right? So say for example, all of us are sitting in a classroom, right? So I mean, for time being, let's forget all our age difference, etc., and assume we are all sitting in the same classroom. I'll take the example of what happened in our case, and I definitely believe this is going to be helpful for every entrepreneur, budding entrepreneur sitting in this room. Say for example, we are all sitting in the same engineering classroom, and all of us are like happy, chill buddies, where we go to first day, first show on Friday, bunk the classes, mass bunk, plan, holiday trips, etc., everything, right? And all of us are like, really close buddies. Say, for example, tomorrow, all of a sudden, Sunil comes to me and shows me his mobile and says that, hey dude, like I built exact clone of Swiggy, which looks like exactly Swiggy, but built by me, or exactly clone of YouTube, which is completely built by me. So what will be the reaction of this complete room that is here? I would say nothing less than wow. Right? Because all of us are sitting in this classroom, all of us, are like chilling, just one night batting before exams. That's typically what we do in undergraduation days, right? Tomorrow Sunil comes and shows me that he has built an YouTube clone, which has like absolutely, you can't even differentiate between whether it's YouTube or Sunil's YouTube, right? So then obviously next question from all of us is, dude, you're like all of us sitting in the same classroom, sitting on the same bench, listening to the same class, bunking the classes, chilling, enjoying, everything is same, but how come all of a sudden you build that? Your answer will be obviously NextWave, if you're a student of NextWave, right? So then the kind of impact that it creates in the...
So articulate in terms of expressing the kind of advantages which your platform is giving them. So how do you recalibrate the kind of responses you're getting and before you put it on the platform?
Again, this is just continuation of my previous answer, right? So, I mean, just imagine a student for 21 years or after spending like 10, 15, 20 lakhs or whatever throughout his education, etc., is coding for the first time and looking at an output for the first time. So we've seen the students where we hear their happy, look at their happy tears immediately after getting the job, right? Because I mean, just imagine situation of a 20 to 23-year-old guy who graduated, who's not having job. Can he attend family functions peacefully? Definitely no, right? I mean, everyone will be like, what are you up to? What are you doing these days, right? So, though they know the answer, they want to poke at you. Unfortunate, I mean, that's the irony, right? Can they really face their parents happily? No, because they have that guilt that my mom and dad has spent, so much on me that I'm not having this. So now, in such a situation, there is some savior who's coming to you and helping you right from, learn from scratch and teaching you in your own mother tongue, right? I mean, again, tier 3, when we say that we are helping tier 3, tier 4 students, we can't keep our pedagogy and learning in English. So when it's going in vernacular, teaching them in Telugu and they're getting a job, so something that's like, you can't even, so that's what keeps us pumped. I mean, this is going to be common for every industry. The moment you help your customer, the kind of, if you're solving the problem, the kind of happiness they are going to have is, that can't be quantified. So now all it needs is just, capture the raw emotions, which unfiltered candid emotions, which makes the viewer understand that, they can correlate, right? I mean, again, when I say that testimonials play an important role, I mean, that's in fact,
so was it a model which you saw elsewhere before you implemented it for customer acquisition?
More than that, again, the talking to students is what made us believe this. Talking to more and more students, right? I mean, again, I'll give one example. So, say for example, Sundar Pichai is an Indian, right? So, he's from Tamil Nadu. So, if I go to Tamil Nadu student and say that, if you study well, you can become Sundar Pichai, it's unrelatable to him. He can't even relate with that guy because Sundar Pichai has gone to IIT Kharagpur and post that I think he has gone to GSB or Stanford or Wharton somewhere, right?
He's been to Kharagpur,
Kharagpur post that he has gone to Wharton or somewhere in US as well, right? So now, as a student from tier 3, tier 4, definitely can't correlate to him. But I can correlate to someone who is similar to me with similar background, similar stuff, similar problems having, similar, academic, not a prodigy, academic background, like similar grades, etc. Right. If that guy is able to do that, then this platform is going to be helpful to me. Right. So this is going to be common for every startup. So if we can talk in the language of what their our customer base is, and if they can correlate that, if that guy got benefited, then I can definitely get benefited through this.
Right. So when you decided to acquire customers, how did you scale up the model, and what's the kind of future? Because you have acquired a certain set of students who you promise, you give the courses, you also offer employment. What's the next step in this? What's the scaling up going to happen, and in what phases?
So, I mean, there are like few sectors in India which I believe are like really fortunate, like edtech, health tech, fitness tech. These are the domains that I feel. Say for example, how many in this room knows Healthify Me, Cult Fitness, or these kind of startups? Healthify Me, I mean, we keep seeing the ads, right? So, I mean, these are the domains where you deliver the outcome, you need not do any marketing. I want to do show off. If I'm a student, if I got the job, I want to go to everyone in this room and tell that I got a job, right? I mean, I don't want to sit silent, because when I didn't have a job, everyone in this room got to me and poked me that, don't you have job, don't you go have job, right? Now, it's my, right, or my, whatever, I want to go to every single person in this room and say that though they don't ask me that, I got a job, right? Tomorrow I'm going to host a party, why don't you come there, right? So now the obvious next question from everyone in this room is, how have you gotten the job? The answer is going to be NextWave. Similarly, just imagine Healthify Me, a guy with obese, like having 120 kgs of weight, is coming down to, say for example, 90 kgs of weight in, say, 9 months. Okay. So everyone is going to ask, or that guy is going to go and,
but how is NextWave implementing this idea? Like you are...
I mean, we need not implement, right? I mean, so, okay. I mean, there are two parts. So, a student, if you deliver the outcome, the student is not going to sit silent. And the parents are not going to sit silent in the first place. So, say for example, my dad, who is in the age of 50 or 55, if I got a job and not having job for last 2-3 years, if I got a job now, my dad would be more than happy to put it in spam all family groups saying that, Anupam has gotten a job now. Just imagine tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 guy. Right. Who face that kind of pressure from society, relatives and everyone.
But would, Anupam, would this be a challenge to tell your students to pitch in your company name when they advertise?
That's the derivative of loyalty, right? I mean, just
okay, now the important question is, how do you build this kind of a loyalty with the students? Because obviously they're not sitting in front of you. Yours is essentially an online classes mainly. Right. So they're not sitting in front of you. How do you build this kind of loyalty so that these students can go back home and say that I learned it from NextWave?
Again, whatever I'm going to say, I think it's applicable for across industries, not just for NextWave or EdTech as such, right? So, see, any user or customer coming to you means they must have tried or burned their hands with at least 3 or other 4 similar players, or someone who's providing similar value proposition. They have done their college, probably they must have tried something else. They have tried campus placements or offline interest, etc., etc. So now they have seen darkness to appreciate the light. That's a simple thing. So in order to build the loyalty, what we felt was just give the right value proposition to the user, because if a user is coming to you, which means they have spent like 3-4 other places. Again, going back to the same previous example, Healthify Me. Before I take up the Healthify Me subscription, I must have definitely met, or I must have tried to hit the gym prior, or I must have tried to wake up myself every day morning 5:30 a.m. or 6 a.m. and jog, lift weights, etc. whatnot, right? I must have tried 3 or 4 things which couldn't give me results, and now I am looking at Healthify Me. The reason why I'm referring to Healthify Me is because we continuously draw inspiration from, not from EdTech, we draw inspiration from fitness tech and health tech.
But Anupam, there's this interesting aspect in this format in which you're approaching. One is the customer loyalty part, but also you need trained people who, when they're facing students, your customers, they're trained to say things and trained to deliver your message. So what's the kind of training you inculcate in the people who are facing the students, or the customer client facing executives?
Again, one thing we understood is no matter how much you say in phone call, it's the trust that's going to win the customer. So now again, trust. Say for example, a student is coming to you saying that, sir, I'm a mechanical student, graduate in 2019 with 3 years or 4 years of career gap, and I didn't have any prior experience. Would I get a job? You have to say nothing. Just provide 20-30 video testimonials of students who have gotten, similar, from similar background, have gotten a job. That is enough, right? I mean, okay, so there is Anupam, who is mechanical graduate, 2019, 4 years gap, he got a job. There is Sunil, mechanical, 2018, who has 5 years of career gap, has gotten a job. There is someone else who has 6 years of career gap, gotten a job. So now, okay, so there are 20 people or 30 people like me, exactly like same academic track record, same, tier of college, exactly same, all the variables are same. Now, if they have gotten a job, then there is something that, I can also get a job. So that's what is going to play a key role. And I feel no matter how much pushy or, how much attempt that we make, it's impossible to gain the trust of the customer unless we feel, yes, I mean, there can be some results. But one thing we understood in working in, India, I mean, the reason why I'm talking India is prior to starting up NextWave, I was majorly part of, US and Middle East markets. So one thing we understood in India is, it is highly trust game. No, whatever industry you are, you need to gain trust of customer in order to, turn them as your paid customers. In order to gain the trust, probably, brand ambassador, etc. can help to a certain level. Okay. But your existing customers who got benefit from you are your walking, talking brand ambassadors. Okay. Nothing can beat that.
Yeah, Anupam, as an entrepreneur, what will be advice to youngsters? You started your company in 2020, and okay, what will be your advice to youngsters sitting out there who would want to start their own company? What kind of path they have to start on? What kind of mentors they have to approach? What kind of funding they use? So what has been your journey and what kind of advice? So these are the 2 parts we'll probably try to
So I'll try to keep it, probably it may go a little philosophical as well. I'm just giving heads up, right? So probably, my generation of entrepreneurs, I'm talking about majorly, my generation and current generation of entrepreneurs, somewhere to us, everything has been commoditized or readily available. Like what I mean by commoditized is you have a really good idea and you have really good, oratory skills and, analytical skills, you can get funding. That's not a really difficult thing today because, there are like bunch of,
So good presentation skills is something.
I mean, good storytelling skills. Good story. I mean, there are a bunch of HNIs out there in India and, capital is commoditized. And hiring people to a certain extent that is commoditized. Everything is commoditized. So, everything is so easily approachable these days that, you can start your own company just like, how you go to Domino's and say that, I want, veg loaded pizza. As simple as that these days. By simple I mean doing the base work, right? But to have sustainable and which we can to drive towards the right path. One thing that I feel is somewhere because of all this have become so accessible, thought process has become so much narrowed down that we are picking only low hanging fruits. By I mean low hanging fruits. If I want to drive customer acquisition, let me go onto Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. Let me do digital marketing. I'll get some leads that will give me the customers. So Anupam can do that, Sunil can do that, everyone in this room sitting in this room can do that, or they can hire people or agency and can do that. But what different am I doing so that this is the secret recipe of NextWave or Anupam's, so that this is going to help me get customers at a different level. So something which is not obvious, which is not low hanging fruit, should be identified in every aspect. That could be it product, be it your customer acquisition style, be it your hiring. So I'll come to an example where during our hiring time in we started in 2020 October, we went to hire into the market to build our team. So 2021 around July August times. So if you guys remember, 2021 was period where you wake up, you hear to a story of new unicorn, right? I mean there was one day where at 8 a.m. there was 91st unicorn, at 12 noon there is 92nd unicorn, 6 p.m. there is 93rd unicorn, 9 p.m.
investors, what kind of skills he needs to have in his final years, for example, or also the question of feedback. Everybody has an idea, but how do you ensure that the idea you have has the right feedback so that you solidify the idea and you make it more concrete and you're more confident of the idea? So what's the internal mechanism or external mechanism for this?
These are two parts. One, validating the idea. Second part is approaching the investors, right? So validating the idea, I feel, no day idea is going to be perfect. So again, product market fit and all these things are like, it's a journey rather than like Rahul was mentioning prior here of one school. So it's a journey rather than, a single destination, right? So at certain point, you continuously keep iterating, you understand that, okay, so this is my value prop is going to be helpful to customers. So now customer is paying me for this value prop, right? So that's probably first part. Second part, I mean, the next panel discussion, which is about investment and other things, they can also answer it much better. So see, investors also wants to invest, right? I mean, the capital which is sitting in their bank account, they don't want to keep it at the fixed deposit of 5%, 6% returns which is giving.
But
right?
how does it come to the person who has this brilliant idea?
Yes. So even investors are in search of really good people where they can put their money in, right? So I mean, when we start our fundraising journey, I mean, one thing we were surprised is, we didn't know that people would reply to your cold mail. We were surprised to know that. I mean, we started our journey there, right? So every investor wants to invest given the confidence.
How many cold mails did you?
So I mean, almost 100% hit rate it was. Like almost every cold mail we've sent, there was a response from the big shots we hear in the industry of investors to the angels, etc. Everyone.
That's heartening.
Right. I mean, coming to the same topic again. So investors want to invest their capital because they don't want to get just that 5-6% returns from FD or whatever they're getting from the bank by putting it in the bank account, right? So they want to invest in startups so that they can get multiplied returns. So now there is a lot of clutter out there, right? I mean, there are like probably 1,000 mails that an investor is going to receive, etc. So now how we can keep it there are two simple ways I feel. One, having a referral. So, say for example, I know 10 investors. If someone is approaching me and if I'm really convinced, I would put a word to, investor A, B, C saying that, hey dude, like, I know this guy who has built really fabulous startup. I think it's worth, your attention. So that's one thing. Second thing, if you're going to do, cold email or you're going to have it networking events or etc., it's important to have 2-3 metrics or 2-3 lines which definitely grabs their attention, saying that, these are the 3 things that we achieved so far, and these 3 things is what we are looking next. So if these 2 things can grab their attention, because I believe investors would receive at least 10 to 50 to 100 to 500 emails in a given day. But how quickly we can grab their attention and make them feel that this is worth my time, right? So again, investors would evaluate probably 100 startups and invest in one, but how we can filter into that 100 is the next big thing.
Time seems to be running out as usual. So any final thoughts on wisdom you want to share with people here, budding entrepreneurs?
So, one thing that really helped us...
and we all should take note of what Anupam is saying because he's rarely seen and heard. So let's hang on to his...
So, see, I mean, one thing that we understood after starting NextWave is it's important to, think beyond what's so obvious in every decision that we want to make. Right? As said, if you want to do customization, there might be 2-3 quick ideas that you get. Let me go and advertise on Google. Let me go and put up a hoarding near, whatever near the highway or etc. or whatever it is. Hit pause. Think again. Think about alternate ways with which you can do, so that can act as your secretary. Whatever, think just beyond obvious, right? When we sit for, our own internal ideation session or brainstorming for everyone, first 1 minute ideas that we get are which are so obvious to everyone, right? That's the common thing which all of us get. Hit pause, just take little more time, think about, what, something that's not so obvious that I can do, so that can help as my, competitive, you call it competitive advantage, call it secret recipe, call it moat, whatever, right? So that is something that is, which helped us to pick something that is not so obvious, not so low hanging, pick something that is eventually go and act as your competitive advantage. That's what, the biggest thing that I can share to anyone.
Thank you, Anupam. On behalf of everyone, thank you. Think beyond obvious is something I will definitely come.
Hi, Anupam. I would like to know the first initial journey, because it's an online journey, right, that you started with. How did you meet the first customers and then crack that 0 to 1?
So it was during COVID, so no chance to meet them in person. So lockdowns, etc. were there, right? So one thing we've done was we, even before the product started shipping out, we started building, WhatsApp communities. So believe me or not, at certain point, we were having 2 lakh people in our WhatsApp groups in 3,000, spread across 3,000 WhatsApp groups. So we were just building on, community by sharing, simple, I think everyone in this room knows news in shorts, right? In shorts where we just swipe to read the news.
Yeah.
So such small nuggets of tech stuff we were providing to every student. So students were like, chalo, let me get added to the WhatsApp, this is what's wrong. They are providing something insightful every day. If you guys know FinShots, similar to FinShots, right? So that way we had large pool of community back then. So then we started shipping out our product slowly. Then, few people join, few people don't join any day. So for us, even today, one thing that we really, give lot of importance is, any given day, out of 100, people who are approaching you, there will be people who are not opting for your product will be far more than the number of people opting for your product. That's the, nature's law, right? The majority will be the number of people who are not opting for your product. It's important to learn from each and every one of them why they are not, opting for your product. And again, if you just ask this question outrightly, they won't answer, right?
Correct.
So you should do anonymous user calls saying that, I want to keep it off record, but fine. So we call the users and, talk as if, I am also a student who is willing to join NextWave. What is his recommendation or his or her recommendation, whether they would ask me, allow me to join NextWave or not. So they would say, bro, it's fine to join NextWave, but, there are these 2-3 concerns that I have. That's why I didn't join, right? So had I called him like NextWave's representative, probably they wouldn't have told me this, right? So try to get as much candid feedback as possible. And sometimes here we'll get into bias where we don't want to hear some stuff which we are not really happy or comfortable with. But let's be brutal and honest, harsh against ourselves to take the feedback. So nudge them, poke them, and take anonymous feedback as much as possible, so that which helps you to give, right things, what is making user to not opt for your product. Right, and this is going to be eternal forever.
Okay, thank you. Got it. And one other question followed with that. Basically, we are looking at a larger vision. Okay, let's talk about the big problem that we want to solve. But today, that problem everyone knows, but no one want to act. Okay, now for us, taking that into the market is a big challenge, because it's a vision which everyone want to talk about or even think through, but no one want to act for. So how do you think we should plan out such things?
See, by chance do you know Skyroot, which is Hyderabad based startup again, right? Skyroot is into space technology.
Aerospace technology, the first rocket launch.
Yeah, first private rocket launched apart from, so I think all of us since our childhood, we have aspirations of becoming astronaut or something like that, right? Looking at the cool stuff that they wear and the rockets they travel, etc. So all of us had that cool thing. But I think they were in the same portion that you were. There are tons of startups like this, right, which are in the same portion that everyone feels that this is really good to have thing, but no one wants to take that bold step ahead, right? So I think it boils down to a couple of things. So one, how well, I mean, how strong is our conviction in solving that problem which no one has solved for? How well we can, you know, instill confidence in someone who's listening to me that, you know, yes, you know, there is a path to this, there is a distance. Say, for example, from here I want to go to Mumbai on road, right? So if I say that, you know, I don't know how to go to Mumbai, no one will trust and join in my car. So I need to say that, you know, from here to, I need to go till point A, point B, point C, from there I need to take this highway, then I need to, you know, clear this toll gate, then I'll get into Bombay. So if I can tell them that, you know, stepwise sequence, then they'll have the confidence to get onto my car if I have to go to Bombay, right? So similar thing is in my startup journey. Be it investor, be it team member, be it, you know, anyone, you have a destination in your mind. So all it takes is how well we can instill confidence in in them that, dude, this is the path, this is how I'm strongly confident about going, and why am I capable of doing this, right? So if I want to have someone in my car, and if I tell them that this is the first time I'm driving my car, no one would come in, right?
True.
So I need to show them that, you know, I have the, you know, capability to drive the car for 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours non-stop if we have to go there, and my prior track record shows that, you know, I can do this, right? So two things: one, the destination is clear, the path is clear, and two, you know, to drive that path, I'm the capable person to drive that path. So these two things, if you can instill, even if it is like, you know, untaken path or untaken roads, people will be really happy to explore that. That's what I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're trying the first path in this the two segments, right? The first segment, who is the captain and riding the ship, and then second is the path that you are choosing. I think we might need some discussion further, support and all of that. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I guess that wraps the session up. Thank you very much, sir. It was very great, and I could really relate to the KGP parts that you mentioned. That was really great. And now I would like to welcome.
Special shout out to yourself, Vedashree and team. So I know how difficult it is to manage academics as well as I don't think it's holiday time right now, right? I think Durga Puja vacation is over and you guys are back to college.
Ends today.
Yeah, ends today. So I know how difficult it is. By your faces, going by face, I guess you guys had night outs.
They look extremely
right?
hassle faces.
Yeah, hassle faces. So
still working hard.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to My Startup TV.